Hi everybody, my name is Kim. Welcome to the Regretful Yarn Addict. For those that don't know, I live in the St. Louis metro area. I'm originally from Michigan, and I have a problem. I'm addicted to that stuff back there. Which is okay because then I can make stuff like this right here. And that's what we're going to talk about today. This is kind of an instructional video. Did I say instructional? It sounded like I said instructional. It's an instructional video on how to make a basic, very basic sweater. Once you have this formula, you can make any sweater, well, any basic sweater using any stitch. The first thing you need to do is to get your trusty measuring tape and take some measurements of your body. I know. It's like, no, I don't want to do that. Just remember, it's only numbers. And those numbers are what we're going to use to make sure you get a sweater, a very basic sweater, that fits you, that doesn't fall off. It's not going to be too small, too tight. And nobody has to know your numbers, all right? Those are your numbers. However, I am going to kind of share mine because this sweater fits me. Okay? I wear an extra large. This fits me. I will show you in a little bit what it looks like on me. We'll just ignore that. I have a shirt with a dragon on. But I'll show you how it fits me later on. And I have all of the stitch counts, measurements, everything you'll need if you want to make this sweater in this size. If you're going to make it in a different size, I don't have those numbers because I didn't make that sweater. Okay, so step number 1, take your trusty measuring tape. You are going to measure your bust, your waist, your hips. Biggest number, you're going to keep that number, cut it in half. Then 1/2 is going to be your back and 1/2 is going to be the front. The back is going to be one piece. The front can either be one piece if you're doing a pullover, or you can split that half number in half again. So you have 1/2 and 2/4. See, I know basic math. Yeah, I know 2/4 equals 1/2. 2 halves equal 1 whole. So you have your half and your half. For a pullover sweater, you have your half and your quarters if you're doing a cardigan. For that back number, you will take whatever that half number is and add an inch. An inch is good. An inch is good. That gives you a play because when you're taking your measurements, good Lord, do not make it like pull that tape measure as tight as you can. Measure loosely. And like I said, you're the only person who has to know those numbers. So be honest with yourself. Okay, so let's get back to that. You've got your half for your back. You've added an inch. Write that number down. That's how wide your back is going to be. Then for those two front panels, because you're going to make this, your two front panels, add a 1/2 inch to each of those. Yeah, that'll work. Trust me, I usually know what I'm talking about. So you've got those numbers. Write down those quarter numbers too. So you've got your 1/2 plus 1 equals your back. Your quarter plus a 1/2 equals each side of your front. Next thing you want to know is figure out how long do you want it. So you're going to take your trusted tape measure, put it on top of your shoulder, like right here, and then measure down till you have it as long as you want it. Write that number down. Those are all important numbers, okay? So now we know how big it's going to be. Yes, that is your basic formula for a basic sweater. Very easy. And then you will sew your shoulders together, leaving a space for your opening for your neck. And you want to leave a big space. I mean, you might want to only just sew just a little bit, maybe, I'd say no more than 2 or 3 inches. See, about that, because that would be right about there. And also you have to keep in mind that because of the way this basic sweater is, it's going to come out past your shoulders. So yeah, I'd say about 3 inches, because you're going to have to want to, you don't have to do anything, but you will probably want to make some kind of trim around your neck and down the front and around the bottom. So that will make up for that, how wide your neck is. Because once you have your shoulders sewn together, you're going to put it on, see how wide you want your sleeves, if that's how you're going to make them. And you want to leave, I think it's about 7 inches if you're going to sew up your sides, and then just make your sleeves in the round going from there. We're not going to get into that whole thing. I'm just doing a basic sweater, and then I'm going to show you how I made this one, because I think the easiest way to make sleeves is the way that I'm going to show you. If you want a more tapered sleeve, there are videos that show you how to do that. This is not that video. This is a basic sweater video. And the way I made my sleeves, you wind up with a nice poofy sleeve. Who doesn't like a nice poofy sleeve? Or if you don't want to put the cuffs on, you will have a nice bell. I'm personally not a fan of the bell sleeve, but that's me. Okay, so let's do Show Jack. This is where mine started. I made this. And then I was like, all right, that's going to be my sweater. So what I did, I started with a magic circle, and I put all my stuff on Post-it notes. I had them sitting around on my desk while I was making this. So I started with 12 double crochets in the middle, and then I just increased out for 7 rounds. So my circle is 7. And it has to be a multiple of 4. If you're going to make a circle into a square, it has to be a multiple of 4, because you're going to have 4 corners. My circle kind of squared out a little. I'm not a fan of that, but it's fine. Um, I I could have done one more round with just no increases, but I didn't. So anyway, then you decide where your corners are. Here's one of mine, here, here, and here. And there are videos that will show you how to turn a circle into a square. This is not that video. So you've got your circle. Nice white circle. Don't worry about this stuff yet. Then I did my square, and I did 14 rounds in the black. Okay, so I have 14 rounds from here down to here. All right, so that's the back. And I didn't worry about what that size was. Oh, the important thing here, this is all worsted weight yarn. All right, I used big twist and I used a 5mm hook. That's important if you're going to make this size. So worsted weight yarn, I used big twist. You can use any 4-weight yarn you want. And I used a 5mm. And we're not going to get into gauge because, you know, I didn't do a gauge swatch, so I can't tell you how many stitches and rows or whatnot are good. Just, it'll be, unless you're really tight or you're really loose when you crochet, it'll be the same size as this. Because this is, I think, how many? 13, 13, 26. I want to say this is a 23 inches wide, I think, maybe. Let's see for sure. That's the one thing I didn't do. Yeah, 22 or 23 inches. Okay, so we got the back done. Now, we've got 2 front panels. This one is solid. This one I did 13 inches wide, 23 inches long. That was 43 stitches, 44 rows. So I did 43 double crochets across, 44 rows. Okay. Don't know if you can see that. 23 inches long, 13 inches wide, 44 rows, 43 stitches. And this side I have 2, 4, 6, 8 panel, 8 squares. And I have 2 down here. For my panel, okay, for my patches, I did 11 rows. Each of these is 11 rows, 21 stitches wide. Okay, and I did 8. Let me see. I have no idea if these are going to show up, but I'll put a thing at the end of the video that has all this information. but there. Okay. So we've got my panels, the back. Okay, now if I was to do this again, I mean, I do like the colors. And down here, I've got a pink and a purple. But I think if I was to do it again, because when I did this one, I looked up the color palette online. I Googled it, color palette for Nightmare Before Christmas. And that's where I got these colors from. Okay, so, and then I sewed these together using the invisible seam. There's videos for that. Again, this is not that video. But, I don't know, it shows up there, but otherwise you can't really see. And it's supposed to be a little, I was thinking about doing like actual stitches to show, and then I was like, nah. But anyway, that's where I've got these funky little designs just on these colors, because if I did it again, I would only use the blue, the yellow, and the pink, because that's the colors of Sally's dress. And if you look at pictures of her dress, she has these funky little designs on all the colors, but I couldn't duplicate them all. So I just kind of, like, I just made some chains and just kind of sewed them on. Made some circles, sewed those on. And this one, because it has like little black, kind of like pixels, I guess, maybe. Like in a cartoon, an old comic strip where they have the red dots and the black dots. And I couldn't really do that. So I just took forever, but I put 2 strings through some stitches and just cut them off to make that. But anyway, that's that. So you've got eight squares, well, not squares, rectangles, I guess, that are 11 rows, 21 stitches. Sew them together. That's your other panel. So once you've got your panels, you sew them up here to the back panel. Sew them up here. It looks like I sewed the length of one of these. So I sewed a little more than what I said, 3 inches. I sewed about 7 inches. Because this comes down to about here. So you sew those on, and then you got it started. And I left this open, I left the side open, and I made my sleeves. My sleeves are 17 inches wide, 15 inches long. Because I took my trusty tape measure and I measured out around the thickest part of my arm loosely, because I want this to fit loose. I didn't want it to be tight and then fluff out at the end. So that's what I did. I just measured and then I added some to make it loose. Then when you've got your top, your front and your back panels together, you open that up and lay it flat on a flat surface, would you? And then you got this, your sleeve, opened up so that it's right, well, okay, first fold your sleeve in half, your panel. Fold that in half. And then make sure that half is right where your front and your back meet. Then you spread it out. And then you just sew that up so that it's sewed to the front and the back. And then when you hang it up on your cute little Antoinette or whoever you happen to have, your sleeve will actually fold in half. Then you're going to sew up the side of this, and you're going to go all the way down there. So that's all. You're sewing up the underneath of your sleeve and down your side. Then what I did was I put a few rounds just from here, and I went around to here. Okay? And I did, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, yeah. I don't know, about 7. And where the front and the back meet, I decreased. No, there I increased. I put extra stitches on each side of that corner. Yeah, there's 2 stitches and 2 stitches. So just so it rounds out. You want it to round out. On the inside ones, you decrease. Yeah, I did decrease. Yeah. I did a decrease to bring those corners in so that it would round out and not be like all funky like. You want it to be rounded. So yeah, I decreased to bring that in for like, I don't know, maybe 2 rounds. I did a little decrease on each side of the corner to bring it in. And then I just made it go. I just did regular. Okay. Then I started on my ribbing on the inside. And I don't know, I did like 2 or 3 rows of front and back. You know, you do a row of double and then you start your front back. And I did 2 rows of front back post. But I only did it up to part of the collar here because I didn't want this part to be ribbed. I wanted it to be nice and flat so that only the front and the bottom were ribbed. Okay. And then for this one, you know what? I just had a crap load of ends to sew in because I did every row a different color. Yeah. Okay. Then to achieve the puffy, my wrist cuffs, I did 7.5 inches. I measured my wrist. So this is, I don't know. Might be something you want to customize. I'm not sure. But mine were 7.5 inches. And I did 15 stitches, 27 rows of back loop only, single crochet. Or no, double. I'm sorry, that's double. But yeah, 15 stitches, 27 rows, 7.5 inches. It's going to be a lot smaller than your sleeve. So when you're sewing it on, you just kind of gather some stitches from your sleeve, a couple, just to even it out. And then, I had the patches that I bought. And they were really difficult to sew on because they're supposed to be iron on. But there's no way I'm going to iron anything on acrylic. That's plastic. It would melt. Okay, so anyway, I think that's a basic idea. The big thing, how you trim it out, however you do any of that, that's all on you. And if you don't like the way this is done, or if you need more explanation, there's videos that will show you how to do that too. You can just mash together a bunch of sweater videos. But, I got a crappy end to get rid of. That's the basic sweater. Measure yourself, get a back panel, front panel, or 2 front panels. Get your sleeves. And okay, here's the thing. If you don't want to make your sleeves like I did, then what you do is after you do your shoulders, you can sew up your sides, but leave an opening. Usually, let me see. About 9 inches, maybe 10 or 11 inches. And then you would just do it in the round, and you could decrease as you're going down. It's just, when you're doing that, make sure you take good notes so you know how many rows you did, how many stitches you did, and then where you started decreasing and how many decreases you put in and where you put them. Where if you do this kind of sleeve, you don't have that. So many wide, so many long. Easy peasy. And that's what I'm all about. So now, excuse me, Antoinette. And I debated on whether to put buttons on it or not. I did put some pockets, but this is how it fits me. Nice loose sleeves, got plenty of room there. Just like that. If you're going to put pockets on, make sure you make them the same size and measure how many rows up, how many stitches over, so that you make sure that they're the same on each side. And you can do that just by pretty much put on the sweater and it's like, where do you want your pockets to be? Do you want them up here, down here? I like pockets. Yeah, you guys, I still might put some buttons on it. Just not sure. But anyway, it's so cool. That's it, guys. That is the basic sweater. And like I said, how many rows you do here, or how you do your trim, that's all up to you. Oh, I forgot. The bottom one. I wish I would have made this separate like I did my cuffs and sewed it on so I could gather it a little bit more and have it more like a bomber jacket. But here, all I did for this was I did, I don't know, 10 or 11 stitches. And then you come up, back loop only, and then you slip stitch in the next 2 stitches, and then you go back down, back loop only, come back up, back loop only, slip stitch 2 stitches, go back over. There's videos on that too, on how to do this kind of border, trim, whatever. But I did that last. Okay. See, I've got my front coming down to the bottom of the red, and then I've got this starting at the bottom of the black and going over. But that's it. Like I said, I'll put the notes in a way where you can actually see them and read them. So, hope this helped you. Make this one if you want. Or make any sweater. Make a shirt. You can use this same formula to make a summer shirt out of like cotton or whatever you choose. Yeah, it's very, very basic. Very easy. So thanks for watching. Y'all have a great day. And yeah, later, Gators. Peace out.